Tim Priester from Bank of America Stadium with Tim O'Malley. And Tim, when I got to the airport in Detroit to fly to Charlotte, I thought it was going to be just a boring pregame press conference with Brian Kelly. And I didn't see it until I actually got to Charlotte, but a little bit of fireworks that we didn't quite anticipate.
Yeah, or as I said to Jack Freeman, hey, I'll do a quick notebook and then go for a run on Friday afternoon. Well, that's not how it worked out. Brian Kelly had something to get off his chest. Ironic, because he started by saying, enough talking, then he talked. And I think a lot of Notre Dame fans have taken it positively in that he's looking out for the student athlete, and he finds a little bit of ridiculousness in everybody or anybody flying to California to play in a game in an empty stadium with no parents allowed when you could simply have it anywhere else. Now, the timing of it was, of course, a bit strange playing for the ACC championship.
I think that's what I had the biggest problem with, was the timing 24 hours before you play Clemson, talking about the playoffs. But hey, I look at it now that I've had 24 hours to think about it. I think, and then also seeing him on game day with the guys at ESPN, he's a very confident football coach. And I think that his confidence comes through with his players. And I think that has a lot to do with just the way he feels in this situation, that, they feel that they're ready for this moment. Winning a rematch is very difficult. Clemson's a big favorite. But I think they're ready to roll here today.
Yeah, I think they're definitely ready for the moment. I think Notre Dame can definitely win this game. There's a path to winning this game, and that is, once again, this happened once before, and it can happen again, is have the Notre Dame defensive line, defensive front be the best unit on the field. Now, a unit that has joined the field is Trevor Lawrence, and that could be the difference maker on this field as well, and that's kind of what swayed my prediction. That and the Tyler Davis playing against Josh Lugg, not Jarrett Patterson. I do think Notre Dame losing a good player and Clemson gaining 4, one of them an all-time All-American, can make a difference in what was a close game. But if you're looking for, is this just a massive upset? I know 10 points is hard to overcome. Vegas knows something, and that's why Brian Kelly's 1-6 in these situations when they're underdogs of 10 points or more. But this just doesn't feel like a game Notre Dame can't win. It is just a greater challenge with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Dabo Swinney was asked, what's going to be the difference? And he said turnovers. And of course, Notre Dame won that 3-1 last time. And, one quarter, 25% of Clemson's turnovers came against Notre Dame. They've had 12 on the season. But, I guess the biggest concern, and you mentioned Trevor Lawrence, and Dabo stole my thunder a little bit, but I'll say what I was going to say. And that is, you've got the leader of the offense returning for Clemson. You have the leader of the defense returning for Clemson. You have 2 quarterbacks on the field, so to speak, one on offense and one on defense. And so that in and of itself, regardless what Skelski is capable of doing physically, and we've talked about Tyler Davis, that in and of itself tells you that they've got their 2 leaders back on the field, and they weren't Notre Dame Stadium. Trevor Lawrence was, but not in uniform.
Yeah, it certainly tightens the ship. It makes it a little for Clemson. I kind of look at it where Notre Dame can't afford the mistakes that Clemson almost overcame last game to go to overtime. If there's a defensive touchdown against Notre Dame, that's a really tough one for Notre Dame to overcome. So I do think Clemson, you have to do more right than Clemson does. The good part about it is I pick Clemson to win, you pick Clemson to win. We're both kind of doubting Notre Dame's offensive line simply because of one player coming into it and how well they played last time. He could easily prove us wrong. This is not a freshman starter going into the game. Josh Lugg is a quality football player and a senior. And if Notre Dame's offensive line can play even with Clemson and Notre Dame's defensive line can beat Clemson's offensive line, that gives Notre Dame another chance to win the game.
To be a +2 on turnovers is unlikely a second time around. So offensively, Notre Dame, obviously they can't have those big gaps between the 65-yard touchdown run and a game-tying touchdown right at the end of regulation. So got to be more productive offensively, and I tend to agree with you, Tim, that we may be overplaying that whole offensive line thing because there are 4 very good players surrounding Josh Lugg. That's it from Bank of America Stadium. We'll talk to you post-game.